Hello and welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where, look, we have to be a bit fearful today. We're wrestling with the Eye of Sauron. That's indeed the name of this puzzle, by Ricky Cruz. Ricky has been an absolutely brilliant setter over the last couple of years on the channel. And this puzzle has been recommended to death by us. We've had it recommended personally by people. We've had it recommended by the Discord server. There's 25,000 people on the Discord server. So you know that if your puzzle is being selected from the masses over there, then it's something very special. And indeed, when Mark and I had lunch with Codec the other day, we asked Codec whether there were any puzzles he'd tried recently he'd recommend, and he was straight in with this one. He says this is an absolute masterpiece. So I'm looking forward to giving it a go. The thing that immediately strikes me when I look at this puzzle is not just the Eye of Sauron, but also how symmetrical this puzzle is. If you imagine a sort of line going down the centre of this column, everything is symmetrical apart from this arrow. So this arrow is the only thing that means this puzzle has a unique solution. It is really, really remarkably beautiful. And I'm looking forward to having a go at it. I don't know how hard it is. I think it might be approachable, but you'll have to judge from the length of the video. Now, I've got a birthday to announce today and also an anniversary. So let's start off with the birthday. Seem, I think it's your birthday today. I hope I'm right. Your friends Martin and Lars got in touch and said that you've been following the channel for a while and you really enjoy it and you'd appreciate a shout out. So we hope that you have a splendid day today filled with lots of cake. And next I want to say a happy anniversary to Sarush. Now Sarush, I think you're a software engineer over in New York City. I hope I'm right about that. We had a lovely email from your fiance telling us that you haven't missed one of my videos since 2020. Now if that's true, that is quite remarkable. And thank you so much for following me, I suppose, so diligently over that period. That was quite incredible. And as I said, Taylor, your fiance, she wrote us a lovely email, and she said that she can't wait to marry you this summer. Now, that is one of the most gorgeous messages I think a man could ever get. So, Sarush and Taylor, we wish you all the best for your wedding in the summer. And I hope that you can celebrate your anniversary today with cake. Now, what else do I need to mention? I want to say good luck to Liverpool. Liverpool are playing Real Madrid this evening in the Champions League final. That match will probably already have started by the time this video goes live. I will be incredibly nervous, but yeah. Wouldn't it be magnificent if Liverpool win a 7th European Cup this evening? I will be keeping everything crossed. And other than that, it's nearly the 1st of June. And the 1st of June, we've got these two big competitions coming up over on Patreon. So if you're a patron of the channel over there, then thank you. Thank you so much for your support. Your support keeps the channel going, literally. And you've got a lot of puzzles coming your way on the 1st of June, and they're rather special. And we're going to have, we're delighted to tell you also we're going to have video solutions for all of the puzzles. And when I tell you there is, I think in the competitions combined there are dozens and dozens of puzzles. That is really something quite special. So look out for that coming in just a couple of days' time. Now I'm going to read you the rules of Eye of Sauron, and they are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. The digits along an arrow must sum to the digit in that arrow's circle. So these cells could be 1, 2 and 6. 1, 2 and 6 add up to 9, and that's how this arrow could work. But it would be rather fortunate if it does work that way. And also we've got green lines today. That means German whispers. So adjacent digits along a green line must differ by at least 5. So if this cell is a 3, this cell's got to be at least 5 different from 3. So it could only be 8 or 9. If it was 9, this digit would have to be 5 away from 9. So it would have to be 4, 2 or 1. It can't be 3 because of the 3 in the column. That's how German whispers rules work. Now, do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's see if I can be Gandalfian today. Let's get cracking, and Okay, let's get cracking. So I can see two things, I think, straight away here that might be interesting. And with impeccable timing, I was called to go and play Lightsabers, which I know is the wrong group of films, etc. But I'm afraid at weekends, these things happen. So now, back to it. And I was just noting that we literally had just started the puzzle. Now, the two things I noticed I can remember. One of them is very tedious indeed, and it's something most of you will have seen before, which is that a 3-cell arrow, where all of these digits have to be different, must add up to at least 6, because even if we minimise the contents of the arrow, we've still got to be looking at a 6 in the circle. So, in fact, these should probably not be circles today, should they? They should be that thing that, is it Merry or Pippin, keeps seeing the Eye of Sauron in? Palantir, Palan something. I want to say Palantir, but I don't know why. Anyway, these are my Palantirs in this puzzle, and they are 6, 7, 8, or 9. But the other thing I noticed was to do with whispers. Now, I know 2 secrets about German whispers lines that are different from the usual Sudoku secret. The first secret I know is that you can never put a 5 on a whispers line, and that's because if you try to, your next digit along the line is going to be problematic indeed, because it's either got to be, well, it's got to be 5 less than 5, which would be 0 or lower, or 5 more than 5, which would be 10 or higher, both of which won't work. So first secret, don't put 5s on German whispers lines. And I'm going to think about that in the context of that column in a moment. But let's talk about the other secret that results from there not being a 5 on a whispers line, which is that the polarity of the line switches, it oscillates as you move along the line. So let's imagine this is this digit here is on the low end of 5, so it's 1, 2, 3, or 4. What does this next digit along the line have to be? Well, because it has to be 5 different, even if this was a 1, this would be 6 or higher. And now this is a 6, 7, 8, or 9. So what's this digit? Well, because it can't be 5, even if this is 9, it still has to be 4 or lower. So you can see you get this oscillating effect that's often very important in whispers puzzles. But let's use the first secret on column 5, because where is 5? And the answer is not in those 6 cells, all of which are whispers lines. So there is a 5 in box 8 in one of those cells, and I seriously doubt it can be here, and no, it can't be here. And the reason I was sceptical about it being there is if it's there, what do we have to put on the arrow cells? And the answer is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that uses up all of the low polarity of box 8. And it requires these digits, therefore, to be sunny digits. They have to be hot digits, or 6, 7, 8s, and 9s. And that means, if we remember the polarity we just talked about, these should be oscillating. So if this is high, we know this is high. This definitely should not be high. This ear here needs to have a different polarity to having these 2 cells at the same level. So this is wrong. And if it's wrong, we can immediately deduce something quite small, which is that the 5 in this column has to be in one of those 2 cells. Which means this cell, this Palantir, the mid Palantir, is at least 6 now, because we're adding 5 to another number. So this must be at least 6. We've nearly got something going on in row 8. But I'm not seeing what that thing is. It might be... no, I don't know. Right, okay, so we're going to have to think a bit harder now. What is it we should be thinking about? Perhaps... right, if these 2... yeah, that would be very interesting. In fact, 1, 2... Yeah, so I need to work out what the polarity of these is, I think. And the answer to that, yeah, opposite that's not what I was hoping for. Right, these two are opposite polarity. So imagine this was a high digit, a sunny digit. Then because of the oscillation around the Eye of Sauron, we'd have high here, and low here. In other words, these are opposite. Now, why does that matter? Well, I was hoping they would be the same, because I could see, therefore, they would both have to be low. And that's because if we think about the nature of a column of Sudoku, it's going to have 4 low digits, 4 high digits, and a 5 in it. Now, Sauron's pupil here definitely has 2 high and 2 low in some order, because it's 4 cells long. So there's 2 of each polarity here. Now we actually now know that these 2 cells are 1 of each polarity again. So these 6 cells altogether are 3 of one polarity and 3 of the other. So this actually is still interesting, because this is now the 4th high polarity in this column. And that means that there's a low polarity accompanying the 5 on these arrows. And that's not what I was hoping, but it's still information. It's probably worth recording. Yeah, this is good. This is good, actually. So now let's go back to our ears and remember that their polarity is oscillating. So think about this cell. What is the... It doesn't matter whether this is high or low. This is the opposite, because we know that the same polarity must be in sort of not knight's moves, but checkerboard fashion here. So this is the opposite polarity from this. This is the opposite polarity to that. So now if we look at this eye shape that we're drawing in box 8, we know that this is made up of 1 of each, 2 of each, and this threesome here, this triomino, has 1 of each in it and a 5. So between these 7 cells, we've got 3 of each polarity and the 5, which means that we need the 4th of each polarity, these 2 cells. So these are different polarity. And that is interesting, because that means one of these is a high digit, which gives us a quadruple in the row. This is so beautiful. Good grief. So now I don't quite know how to notate this. One of these is low, one of them is high. So the high one cannot be a 9, and this square cannot be a 6, because whichever one of these is a 6, 7 or an 8, we're adding at least 1 to it to get to this circle's value. So this is 7, 8 or 9. There's a 6 at least in one of these, and that's giving us a virtual quadruple between these 5 cells. So we've got 3 Palantirs and 1, 6, 7 or 8. But no 5. Right, so where is the 5 in row 8? And the answer is in one of those 2 cells, because it can't be on the whisper. So whichever one of these is 5 must be at least an 8 or a 9 on its circle, on its Palantir, because 5 plus 1 plus 2 is 8, so we can never add to less than 8, with whichever one of these is 5. And yeah, okay. This is seriously clever. It really is. Let's now think about the effect of missing a 6 out of our middle Palantir. What does that mean for that column? And the answer is really beautiful, actually, because you definitely can't put 6 in either of those cells, because if you do, what do you have to put into these cells? If this is a 6, both of those have to be 1, because they have to be 5 away. So 6 and 4 are the 2 sort of most difficult digits to place on a whispers line, because they always have to go next to the same digit, and therefore, well, for example, you could never put a 6 here. You because you'd have to surround it by double 1. And that works the same way in this column. So that means that 6 is on the pupil of Sauron, and it can't go in the middle of the pupil, because if it goes in the middle, it's got to be surrounded by double 1. So that means that 6 is in one of those 2 squares, 1 is in one of these 2 squares, and there is no 1 in the arrow tips in box 8. Now, that means this can't be a 7 anymore, because because one of these is a 6 and we're adding at least 2 to it now, we can take 7 out of here. And that doesn't actually... So one of these is 6, 7. Can't be 8 anymore. Right, so we can't put 8. Oh, no. Oh, this is beautiful. Right, I understand. Right, sorry. I'm being slow here. I think I could have got this a few minutes ago. Right. Remember, once we worked out one of these was 6, what digit can we not put on the arrow tip of whichever one of these is 6 or 7 or whatever it is? You can't put 4 with it, because then this would have to be a double-digit number. But if you can't put 4 in either of those squares in the column, where are you putting 4 now? It's the same logic as it was with 6. We can't put 4 here because it'll have to have double 9 there. And the same is at the top of Sauron's eye. It works the same way. So that means you can't put 4 in the middle of Sauron's pupil because it'll be surrounded by double 9. So we've got to put... So there's a 4-6 pair in the column and a 1-9 pair in the column. And that means this square is an 8. And that is one of the most beautiful openings I can remember in a Sudoku. That is so pretty. Good. That's... Ricky, that is stunning. Absolutely stunning. So now... Well, now I want... No, you can't have 3 in either of these cells now, because we know one of these is at least a 6. And we're heading up towards 8, so we can't add 3 to 6 to get 9, because 9 is not the same number as 8. So this is a 2-5 pair, and we're adding 3 to the 5, and we're adding 6 to the 2. So these are not 6 anymore. So we've got a 7-9 pair in the 2 wing Palantirs. We've got most of column 5 done with, but we haven't put 3 and 7 in. Now 3 and 7 aren't that easy to put onto a German Whispers line. If that's a 3, these 2 squares have to be 8, 9. If this square's a 7, these 2 squares have to be 1, 2, because again we're trying to get 5 away. So whatever this is, this square is 1, 2, 8 or 9, and so are these 2. And that means... What does that mean? And I tell you what's strange about this as well, is look what's happening down column 4 and column 6. Identical pencil marks either side of this central column. Something needs to break that symmetry. I can see how we might be able to get these 2, well, these 2 digits once resolved will break the symmetry, but I can't think for the life of me why that's going to somehow, differentiate the whole puzzle. It doesn't look almost possible for that to be true. Right. Okay, here is an obvious deduction I should have got before as well. Another one. So, look at row 8. We've got a 6, we've got a 7, we've got an 8, we've got a 9. The 7 and 9 could be the other way around, but the point is that these 2 Whispers lines digits are not capable of being of high polarity. So these are low, and that means that they need to have a colour assigned to them, and the colour will be blue because they're cold digits. Now, and we know we've got oscillating polarity, so those 2 digits are blue polarity. These are going to be hot digits. which get the orange. They get orangified. I believe blue and orange are the best colours for people who suffer from colour blindness. And now these two digits are a 1-4 pair because they are not 2 or 3. So these two digits are 7 and 9. These two digits are not 3. Oh, bobbins, they can be 4. Maybe they can be 4. Hang on a sec. If they're 4, both of those have to be 9. Normally 4 is an absolutely deadly digit. We've already seen it once on Sauron's eye. But 4 here might work, actually. You could double 9. Yeah, these two cells don't see each other. So if you did put 4 here, you'd have to put 9 in one of... Well, in fact, one of... No, that's it. Right. Okay, so if you did put 4 here, you'd have to put 9 on the other side in the Palantir. So that would have to be a 5. It doesn't actually clash, does it? So maybe we can put 4 here. I'm not sure. So it seems like these can be 1, 2 or 4. Okay, so now what do we do? We don't know which way up Sauron's eye goes. We've got... I know these are high, but until I don't think I can rule anything out. I can even put 6 in these and have double 1 into the blue cells. So I think these have full optionality. And we need to get a bit more Sam and Frodo about this, don't we? And a bit less Merry and Pippin. So how do we do that? We are going to argue that we've got a 7 and a 9. Right, okay, so the 9 arrow... Yes, okay, so now we actually know what these arrows are. Because these are a 7-9 pair, the 7 arrow is going to be 1, 2, 4, and the 9 arrow has a 5 on it. So that's going to be 5, 3, 1. So what's that doing? I don't know. So one of those squares is a 2. Oh, that's quite interesting. Right. Yeah, what... This is very strange. It doesn't matter which of these is a 7, but whichever one of these is a 7 has 1, 2, 4 on its arrow. Now that 1, 2, 4 is going to be affected by this 1, 4 pair and force a 2 into one of those cells. Which means this cell has to be a 5, this cell has to be a 3, this cell has to be a 6, and that cell has to be a 2. And that does it doesn't differentiate anything. I thought this arrow was going to be the magical arrow. Oh, that's really weird. I'm really perplexed by this. How does this get resolved? There's another interesting thing, though, about whichever one of these arrows, or whichever one of the Palantirs is 7. Because it's got 1, 2, 4 on its arrow, and these 3-line whispers will always be looking at a 1, 2, 4 triple on one side of the board. And that a 1, 2, 4 triple, let's imagine it's this one. Let's just put the digits in. I don't want to get this too wrong, but something like that might be possible. So if this was 7 and this was 1, 2, 4, this German whispers line now, we would know how it oscillated, because there's only one more low polarity digit. So we can't make those two be low. So this would have to be a 3. And that's the same. It's exactly the same logic. If this is the 7, this would be 1, 2, 4, and this would be a 3. So... Oh, good grief. Right, this is absolutely stupendous. Okay, so So I now understand how the Eye of Sauron is made up, which sounds a silly thing to say, but I think is true. Because, let's continue, let's imagine this was the 7. What's the implication of a 3 here? Well, it's got to be surrounded by 8s and 9s. So we know that there is an 8 or a 9 in this cell, or this cell in the finished puzzle. Well, how can this be an 8-9 pair? How could this be a 3? If that's a 3, this is an 8-9 pair, and that's impossible. And if the 7 was here, it would be impossible here. So it doesn't work. So that means this is a 7, is what it means. But it means now we have to take out all of this, because this is hypothetical. We don't know which one of these is 7. We do know there's a 3 in one of those cells, because whichever one of these is 7 has 1, 2, 4 on its arrow and needs a 3 in the middle of its green line. 3 by Sudoku is placed here as a result of that. Oh, this is so strange. Right, now we've got a 1-2 pair here next to the 7. The 1-2 pair make that square a 9, that square a 1, that square a 4, that square a 6. Good grief. Now, this is a 3, so these have to be 8 and 9. These digits have got to be 5, 6 and 8. And that's not 6, therefore. So this is 5 or 8. And this is still very symmetrical, isn't it? So on one side of the grid, I've got a 3 with an 8, 9 above and below it. On the other side, I've got 9. Let's put 9 in now and see if we can understand what that does. So 9 we know is going to have a 5 here. Oh, right. Oh, this is beautiful. Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness me. Right. Okay. Yeah, I think, well, I can certainly do some things with these cells, I think, now. So imagine this was 9. We know that this is a 5, 3, 1 arrow. We know this is the 5 on that arrow. Where's the 3 going? Well, this 3 is looking at that cell and that cell. So whichever one of these is 9, there is always a 3 in one of those two cells. Now, with the 7, there was a 2 in one of these cells. So this is a 2, 3 pair. And now, because now we know the 1 on the 9 arrow has to go there or there. But the 7 arrow has got a 1 on it as well. And the 7 arrow's 1, therefore, has to go in row 8. Because it can't go in row 6, which is where the 9 arrows 1 go. It can't go in this row, because we know the 7 has a 2 in that row. So one of these is a 1, and that's a 1, 5 pair. Look. Oh, so one of these is a 4. So now we say this is a 2, 4 pair. So one of these is a 4 and has to be double 9'd on its high digits. Oh, I know what I should do, you know. I haven't done this. I should label this whole of Sauron's sort of eyelid around here. What's the accompanying digit with the 1? So it's a 4. The 7 arrow is going to very specifically now go 1, 2, 4. So there is a 4 in one of these, which means there's a 4. Whoopsie! Whoa! There's a 4 in one of these two cells. Okay, so maybe now what we do. I don't know what to focus on, but I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to have a look at polarity in this column. So high digits are hot, these are low, so these are low, and this is low. So these are high, So these are high. So these are high and they're not 9. But they can rather annoyingly be 6. I don't believe it. These don't see. These don't see. They don't see each other. So they can both be 1, I think. Oh no, that can't be. Ah, no. Right, Sudoku helps us. Yes. Okay, look at this 1 here. That prevents either of these digits being 6. So these are a 7-8 pair. So now these 2 digits have to be. Oh, this is. Oh, look, and this is doing stuff. I don't know what to do now. There's loads going on. This is now a 5. This is a 6, and that's an 8. Oh, that's giving me an 8 and a 9 here, and that's giving me a 9 and a 7 here. And that can't. Oh, this is it. We've disambiguated it. Look, we've done it. This now can't be 4. It's next to 7. So this is 2. Don't know if that affects this, but that's now 4, which needs a 9. So that probably has to be 4, therefore. If this is 4, this... Yeah, yes, it does. Because if this is 4, this is 9, and the 9s clash. So that's 4. That's 1. This square has to be not the 6, because it can't have 1 on both sides of it. That's 7 or 8. There's a 7-8 pair in this column. This 9 is telling us the nature of that. That's a 7. This is 9. And now we know this is 5. This is 3. This is 1. This is 1. This is 2. This is 4. And these 2 squares have got to be low. And they're not 1. And they can't be 4 because these 2 can't be 9. So these are a 2-3 pair. Which means this is a 3, this is a 2, that can't be next to 7, so that's 8, that's 7. Which means this is 1, this is 2 by Sudoku, this is 2 by Sudoku. These 2 squares here are known, they've got to be a 4, which must go here, and a something, which is a 5, so that should be a 7. And that is working. Good grief. That is this 8's giving me a 7 here as well. So that's almost the whole of the puzzle done, except for some Sudoku, look, and these green lines. So what can we do with these green lines? We know that one of them has a 3 in its middle digit. Ah! No. Oh, no. Oh! Hang on. Row 3's got all its high digits in it. 6, 7, 8, 9. So the middle digit's always low, which means we now know the polarity of the green lines. We now know that this is, and both of them C1. So these are, and they can't be, you can't put 4 in the middle of the sequence. They have to have double 9 here. So these are a 2-3 pair. And that's a 3. So this is all resolved. 2 and 3 are resolved. This must be an 8-9 pair, which is not resolved. And this has got to be 7s, 8s or 9s, but that can't be 8. That can't be 7. So now in this row we've got an 8-9 pair, which means these 2 squares, I want to say they're 5 and 6. Maybe this column now, we need 5, 6 and 7 into these squares. So they're 5, 6 or 7, that can't be 7, that can't be 6, that can't be 7 either, so 7 in the column is fixed. We've got 5 6s at the top and bottom. 7 can go in by Sudoku into box 4 and into box 1. So how many 7s? We've done all the 7s. So now let's think about 8s, which are more recalcitrant possibly. This row needs not much, 6 and 8, which might not be resolved. I can't see how that's resolved. What about this row? 1 and 4. Oh, also not resolved apparently. Okay, let's try this row. So we need 6, 8 and 9, which is nearly... Okay, looks a little bit interesting. 6, 8 and 9. That one can't be 8. that one can't be 9, and that one seems to be able to do... Ah, there's a 6... Oh, look, right, there's a 6, 8, 9 triple in box 6, so that's 5. That's 6. That's 9. This is a 6, 8 pair, so that's 9. This is 8. This is 8. This is a 1, 3 pair, which is not resolved. But in this row now, we need 2, 4, and 5. And that's not 2. And that's not 2. So this is 2. And this 5 sees that one. So that's 4. That's 5. And now the top and bottom of column 1 have got to be 6 and 9, which 9 here is useful. So that's 9. That's 6. That's 5. That's 6. And that 6 sees this one, so that's 8, that's 6, that's 6, that's 8. And this, I think, is falling now. This is 8, this is 3. This is 3, this is 1, this is 4, this is 1. Good grief. That's a 1, that's a 4. And, okay, this is a 4, I think, by Sudoku. We need a 6 in that column. This needs to be 3 and 5. It's all working. That's got to be a 1. We need a 2 in the row. We need a 5 and a 9, which has to be this way round. Good grief. And I know I've not done all of the high-low shading, but I don't think we need to. Let's see. Yes. That is just sensational, isn't it? That is just sensational setting. That's one of my favourite puzzles of recent times. There is nothing not to like about that. All of the logic is... What's the right way of describing it? It's like a jigsaw puzzle that's perfectly fits together. It's just so gorgeous. I absolutely love the fact that you get this sort of iterative effect around this arrow. So we worked out this had to be high, but then from we could use the sort of parity of or polarity of these whispers lines to know that there had to be a high digit in one of these two, which pushed this up. And once this was pushed up, it pushed the 6 up here, which pushed the 1 in here and knocked back down here, which pushed this up again. And that effect was just absolutely profound. And to execute this, let's actually just get rid of the... To execute this with that level of symmetry and no givens, that is an absolute masterpiece, Ricky Cruz. That is just so good. I really hope people tried this puzzle. I'd love to know in the comments how you got on with it, because I think that people are going to get a lot of joy from this. This is really, really clever. Thanks so much for watching. I will watch the comments with interest. I do enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.